All right, everyone, welcome back for another
Ah.
deep dive. This time we're going to be taking a look at something that happened just the other night, actually, that really impacted a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm talking, of course, about the Slack outage.
That was wild.
Yeah, so, I mean, imagine this, right? You're just wrapping up your workday, send out that last email, and poof, Slack goes
R
dark.
Totally.
And I don't know about you, but, I mean, I rely on Slack for, like, pretty much everything.
Oh, same here.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much my entire workday revolves around it.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
so this outage, it really kind of threw a wrench in things for a lot of people.
Yeah, it really highlights just how much we depend on these digital tools these
For
days
sure.
and how vulnerable we are when they go down.
Yeah, so let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So this outage just started around 9:56 p.m.,
Mm.
which is, prime time for a lot of people wrapping up their workday.
Prime time.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on the East Coast.
Yeah, and almost immediately reports started flooding Down Detector. Have you ever used Down Detector before?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, it's basically a website where users can report if a website or a service is down.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear right away that this was a widespread issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what's interesting is that the timing of this outage was particularly bad.
How so?
Well, think about it. You have teams in New York who are just finishing up their day, and then you have teams in California who are just getting started.
Right.
So an outage right at that time can really disrupt a project's momentum.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, deadlines get missed, communication breaks down. It can even have financial implications for businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did Slack do about it? I mean, how did they respond to this?
Well, they pretty much immediately acknowledged the issue on X, formerly Twitter.
Oh, right, right.
And they assured everyone that they were investigating the cause of the outage.
And it's interesting that they chose to use X for that,
Hmm.
right? I mean, it just goes to show how important social media has become for crisis communication. Like, it allows companies to reach a huge audience almost instantly.
Hmm.
And it also helps them manage anxieties and even control the narrative in real time.
Yeah, it's essential these days.
But I do have to wonder, like, is relying on social media for critical information a little bit risky?
What do you mean?
Well, what if someone doesn't have an X account?
That's a good point.
Like, how would they find out what's going on?
Well, that's why Slack also directed users to their status page.
Oh, their status page, right?
Yeah, which is basically a dedicated web page that provides real-time updates on the platform's operational status.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about status pages, because I've seen them, but I've never really understood, like, their importance.
We'll think of a status page as like a single source of truth during an outage, so it helps manage expectations, prevents the spread of misinformation,
Mm.
and it offers transparency, which is crucial for building trust with users.
Right, because, I mean, in a situation like this, people just want to know, like, hey, what's going on?
Exactly.
And when can I expect things to be back to normal?
Right, and a status page can provide that information.
So it's not just about fixing the problem, it's also about communicating effectively with your users during a crisis.
Exactly, communication is key.
This whole Slack outage thing,
Yeah.
I don't know, it really got me thinking.
About
Like, what if this happened to other essential services?
Mm-hmm.
Like email or banking or even the power grid.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Right. And it really highlights, I think, like how reliant we are on digital infrastructure these days.
Yeah, I mean, we're so interconnected, but a single point of failure can disrupt entire systems.
So I guess the question is, like, what can we do about it? Like, do we just cross our fingers and hope for the best?
I mean, we can do more than that.
Oh.
We need to think about backup plans, like what alternative communication methods can teams use if Slack goes down again?
Right.
Could it be as simple as having a phone tree or using good old-fashioned email? And we
Mhm.
also need to think about building more resilient systems,
Huh.
systems that can better withstand these kinds of disruptions.
So this wasn't just a tech glitch. It was a wake-up call.
It was a big one.
Yeah. And this deep dive, I don't know, it's given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
Like, what steps can we take as individuals and as organizations to make sure that our digital lives aren't so easily disrupted? And how can we become more resilient in a world that's becoming increasingly digital? These are some big questions. And I don't know that we have all the answers, but I think they're worth pondering.
I agree.
Thanks for joining me for another deep dive, and we'll see you next time.